I've got Beth Mooney and also Alana King from the Perth Scorchers in the studio. Not only Scorchers, but also Australian players. Girls, thank you for both coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, good. Happy to be here.
Now, I'm going to ask you straight up, Beth, have you calmed down from your celebrations from the other night? Because I don't think I've ever seen you celebrate so aggressively.
Well, yeah, I think it was a bit of a tight game. We probably let them back in at different points, so it was really nice to get over the line. I felt a little bit sorry for Darcy. She obviously batted very well for them. And you never like to be on the wrong side of that result. So, yeah, pretty pumped to get that one.
There's a bit of chaos going on at the end there. I'm just wondering, did Bridget was she almost trying to distract you? The arm sort of came out there as that ball was in the air.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a fascinating topic the last couple of days. I think, I wonder if she's looked back at that and thought she probably made it a bit too obvious that she was trying to knock me out of the way. But, I guess I took the catch. Might have been a different story if I didn't. We probably would have gone up for obstructing the field, I guess. But, you can't get away with too much these days. It's all on TV and on social media. So, lucky I caught it.
What were you thinking, Alana, watching the dramatic final stages?
I was standing at short 45 and I've not seen Moon celebrate like that for a wicket before. Yeah. She almost took a bit of the dozer celebration and beeline for Paige and just absolutely bear hugged her. But I think in the context of the game, last or second last ball to get the win, and probably shouldn't have got that close given the position we were in. But it's always nice to have a win in front of our home crowd, and I think that's what we're pretty proud of as well.
It shows you're still very much emotionally invested in it all. You've been playing in the WBBL. You both have been for the same amount of time. About 25 years, I think, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it definitely feels like that sometimes. But, I think it's a really fun time of year. It means a lot to come back from international touring and pull on the orange of the Scorchers and get amongst the fans back home, and obviously the fans around Australia who get to see us play. So, it's a really special time of year. I think it's pretty easy to get up for these games because they're always a lot of fun. They always go down to the wire, and there's always a different way you can contribute.
I've got to ask you, it's not so much the elephant in the room, but fatigue levels for you guys, having gone through what you went through in India to then pretty much get straight off a plane and get straight into a WBBL. Has it been challenging? I'll ask you first, Alana.
Yeah, it has been at times, but I just think we had a few days at home, and I think that's what has helped everyone. Lucky for some. But I just think just a couple of days in your own bed in a bit of normality and a bit of what you're comfortable with, and a bit of home is always good for the soul, and I would take that over no days at home or in our own bed. So lucky our first game was in Perth, and I had a few more extra nights than Moons did, but she was on the first flight out of Perth when we had to come over east and play Brisbane. But it's just unfortunately the nature of it. But we all love the WBBL, and we're really excited to play here. But after this, there's a little bit of a break before international duties recommence.
This is the problem when you play for your country and you're so good. You're people in demand. You just got to keep playing cricket. You just got to get back on the horse.
Yeah, I think we've obviously been crying out for more cricket for a number of years, and they've certainly found a way to fill the schedule. But there's always a different opportunity out there as well. Obviously, we get the chance to play in lots of different teams now, not just in Australia but around the world. So for me, it's pretty easy to switch back on. I would like a little bit less travel in the WBBL, maybe a couple more home games and make everyone else come to Perth. But it's been a lot of fun. Certainly the 5:20 alarm this morning wasn't great to get on the plane, but I was probably running the gauntlet a bit compared to some of them who set their alarm in the 4s.
Yeah, that is ridiculous that you left your room in 5 minutes from when your alarm went off. So that is not me. I'd love to give myself a bit more time so I'm not a mad rush, but no, that's how Moons rolls. And if that works for you, Moons, go for it. And if you make the plane on time, that'll...
Was it good that you actually got to play cricket straight after the World Cup rather than sort of not wallow but think too much about what didn't happen through the World Cup, that you could actually just get to the next tournament and sort of look forward a bit more?
Well, you're not short of cricket, I guess. And I think when we had a couple of days at home, everyone switched off from cricket. So we had a bit of leeway with our clubs in making sure that we came into camp a little bit later than everyone else, just because we've been away for 2 months with 2 big series and tournaments to be played. So I switched off from cricket completely until I needed to when I joined up with the Scorchers. And as a mental refresh, as a physical refresh, I thought it was pretty important. But everyone did it differently, whether they went down to the beach or went and saw family. Everyone just tried to fill their bucket as much as they can before we get going again.
How did you find it, Beth?
I think it's always disappointing when things end very differently to how you thought they would. So certainly for us coming home, it was a bit of a somber couple of days trying to get out of India and I guess move on to the next thing. As humans, we move on pretty quickly whether you win or lose, and there's always something else to talk about. So I didn't mind the WBBL starting pretty quickly. I thought there was going to be some more cricket content out there and we'd stop getting asked how it felt to lose. So from my point of view, I think it was a really good thing for people to go back to their clubs, bit of time at home. And, you know, one thing I will say is the clubs are really respectful. We're very lucky at the Scorchers with Becky Grundy as the coach and Kate Harvey as the HP manager, who are really flexible with us in what we can show up for and what's probably a stretch for us given how much cricket we play.
I promise I won't ask any more about the World Cup. So I want to ask you about the Scorchers for both of you for different reasons. What does it mean to play for the Scorchers? You obviously played at another club as well, but now you're sort of entrenched in the orange of the Scorchers. Does it feel like, you know, this is your club, this is your state now almost?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was pretty lucky to come through the Queensland setup and the Brisbane Heat setup at a pretty young age and got given plenty of opportunity there. But I always heard really good things about the Wacker and the Scorchers. So when it came to make a decision, it was a pretty easy one in the end for me. I think the appeal of Christina Matthews as CEO, Shelley Nitschke was the coach when I first moved over and working closely with Grunners. So from my point of view, it feels like coming home when WBBL's on. Don't quite live in Perth just yet, maybe one day, but
we'll get it there, don't worry.
There's a few of the girls getting in my ear about that. So yeah, as I said, they look after me really well. I feel like they look after the rest of the players really well and give us plenty of opportunity to be successful. So you always worry when you move clubs, am I going to be as good as I was, or am I going to be able to contribute like I did? And I feel like I've been able to return the favour a little bit to the Scorchers, but I still feel like I've got plenty left in me.
What about you, Alana?
Very similar to Moons in the way we kind of saw, I saw an opportunity. First it was for state and moved over to WA, but still had a year on my contract with the Stars, and I loved that. And it was more so just to make sure that I'm really set up in Perth and making sure that I play all my cricket in Perth. Having Shelley Nitschke as head coach of the Scorchers was a big bonus as well, to work with the Australian spin coach, just to tap into her knowledge and Moons and Soph as well, international players. So I just wanted to pretty much base myself in one part of the country for a little bit, and yeah, I've absolutely loved it. And as Moons has alluded to before, like I feel as though I've tried to return the favour to the Scorchers of taking a leap of faith and getting me over and putting the orange, but Perth's home for me and will be for the foreseeable future. So I absolutely love it, and it's a great time of year, and we've got a great group. Yes, there's always movement every season with players coming in and out, but I think the core group of our group has stuck together, and we've won a title together, and hopefully there's another one on the cards very soon. But I think it's just the culture that we have built over the last few years at the Scorchers is something that I love. I love living and playing in the tournament, I guess.
So about the tournament, as I say, I joked that you've been playing for 25 years, but how much have you changed as a bowler from when you first started to where you are now?
Oh, I probably used to toss them up a lot more when I was a bit younger, even in the first edition of the WBBL when I was at the Stars. Still a very inexperienced bowler, but got given an opportunity by Cricket Victoria and the Melbourne Stars to play in this amazing competition. And I think not too much has changed for me. I've probably become a bit more tactically aware and tweaked a few things with my action, and definitely a speed on the ball has definitely come along a long way since I first started, 11 years ago. So, and just probably my consistency over the last probably 3 or 4 years is something that I've really worked on and tried to hone in. As soon as I got that opportunity to play for Australia, I just wanted to make sure I can keep evolving my game and keep being putting my hand up for selection and hopefully contributing to a lot of wins for Australia.
And do you look back at any old film of when you first started playing to see what you were like compared to what you are now?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit. And to be honest, nothing has changed dramatically in terms of like what my action looks like.
It doesn't look a lot different.
Yeah, so I've tweaked a few things. Maybe with my front arm, I used to be quite low with my front arm, so I was just getting a bit higher and getting a bit more drive through my back legs. But from a whole leg spin point of view, not too much has changed, which is great because I always got told that I had a really nice fluent action from a young age and had some great mentors growing up with, especially in Premier Cricket, Bryce McGain, when I worked with at Paran. So he helped me a lot. And then, yeah, I've obviously evolved as a player and as a person and continue to tweak things no matter who I'm working with.
He's like a proud dad, Bryce, when he watches you play for Australia. I often get clips of you and have a look at this, have a look at this. Bowling, now you're bowling balls of the century and all sorts of things now. You're sort of just going leaps and bounds.
Well, it's been nice, but Bryce helped me a lot for the few years that I was at Paran and got me actually moved over to Paran from Dandenong, which is another big move that helped shape my career so far. But yeah, Bryce was awesome, and just to chat leg spin with him was unbelievable.
What about you, Beth? The change in the tournament through the years now. We've now got all the best internationals playing, which probably hurts us in a World Cup now. We give them all this extra practice. But have you seen it change over the years, the WBBL?
Probably on a aesthetic kind of level where we wear uniforms at fittest, which is a good start compared to WBBL 01. So I think we're in male uniforms in the first year and played 2 games in a day and 4 games in a weekend. So from that point of view, it's got a lot more professional from that sort of amateur, let's give the big bash a go and see what happens type era. But in terms of the standard of cricket and the style of play that's evolved, it's been really exciting to see, for me, the domestic players and how quickly they develop now in our competition. They improve significantly quicker than Kingy and I probably did at their age, which is scary for us. We've got to keep evolving as senior players in that international setup and also at the Scorchers. But it just goes to show that if you build it can grow the game, and that's what's happened with the WBBL. I think it's an attractive competition for obviously international players, but it's now a really attractive proposition for young girls around the country who might grow up and want to play for the Perth Scorchers or the Melbourne Stars or whoever it might be. So I think that's been the exciting change that I've seen. And another one is probably dads bringing their young boys to the games. The fans of the game have probably evolved as well. 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't have seen that. There would have been 50 to 100 people in the crowd and not too many males. And now you see dads and their 2 young boys wanting to get someone's autograph and getting excited to see their favourite player or whoever it might be. So, the evolution's it feels quick. I'm not allowed to say I'm old, so I'd say the experienced players that have been around for a long time have certainly reaped the rewards of that, but it hasn't always been smooth sailing either. We've had to really work hard for it and challenge the people that make the big decisions.
So you've set the bar extremely highly yourself personally, but when you see some of the younger players coming through, whether it's a Phoebe Litchfield with what she can do, whether it be in a World Cup or whether it be just on a regular basis for the Sydney Thunder, Reece McKenna, some of the things that she's now doing as the younger players coming through, do you get surprised with what you see and the capacity of these younger players? Do you feel like, I've got to keep up with them? How do you see that younger generation coming through?
It doesn't surprise me at all. I think they sort of they're coming through now and not having to want for anything, and that's not in a disrespectful way. I think about some of the coaches that are floating around WBBL and they get access to excellent coaching, good resourcing, good facilities, a very tailored program that suits them if they want it to. So there's no reason that our players shouldn't develop into some of the best players in the world across the board, especially that generation, which is hugely exciting. And in terms of being worried, I don't think so. I think we're all going to get kicked out at some point. So we may as well get it done by players that have come through the WBBL and been amazing in their own right. So for me, it's just exciting, and it creates an amazing brand of cricket that people get to watch, coupled with a lot of experience out there as well.
What about for you, Alana, seeing the younger spinners coming through? There's plenty of wily old spinners still playing the WBBL as well, but are you watching other players to see tricks that you can pick up or trends that you see in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just great to see that young girls are actually picking up leg spin. There wasn't a lot when I was growing up. There was only a handful of us, but to see a few more, not just at the WBBL level, but at the Pathways level as well, to pick up leg spin. That's something that excites me. And we've got a gem over in WA with Teagues, and she's been unbelievable. She's had a bit of an injury off late, but I think she's someone who I can go back home and when I'm in WA and around the WA girls, I can, help her out and get her to ask me questions. I can ask her questions about what she does. It's just nice to see different people trying to pick up the beautiful art of leg spin, and no doubt I'm trying to learn new tricks and trying to get better. And I think you can learn off the younger generation. You can just pick their brains on why they do things and how they're trying to set up a batter, and it's just organic conversations, like I guess, that are going to help me stay young, I would say, and try stay ahead of the game, but also pass on knowledge. We're not going to be here forever, and we want to make sure that the next crop of young, talented cricketers coming through are going to take the world by storm.
You've got the best view in the house watching Alana bowl. What are you seeing? What are you liking from her at the moment?
It's certainly challenging being in that position. I think I
imagine.
still owe Kingy about 25 beers for missing catches and stumpings from a few years ago when I wasn't wearing my white gloves. But it's exciting. It brings people to the game, I think, when you've got exciting players like Kingy and obviously everyone else in the competition, where you just think something's always going to happen. I find the problem-solving side of the game really fun. So trying to, knowing what Kingy can do and seeing how a batter responds to that, I really enjoy from the position I'm in behind the stumps. But yeah, she's got a few wickets. You got 100 and something, do you?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
nice.
You know how many you have.
It only came up on the scoreboard at the whacker the other day, and I was like, oh, that's nice to know. But
I do like to rib Kingy for watching her highlights. So
yeah, but hey, you like to watch highlights as well, Moons. But
of your bowling, yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Can you pick her? Like all the variations she's got. Is there ever a time where I didn't get that one? I didn't read that one out of the hand.
I haven't really thought about it. It kind of just happens.
Well, the Aussie players, I bowl to like obviously those girls a lot more than anyone else. So it's always a hard tussle when you come up to them in the WBBL, because you've bowled to them so much. They've obviously faced you a lot. So I actually get more excited when I get a wicket from one of the fellow Aussie teammates because I'm like, enough of you whack me around the nets and everything. But no, I've got Moons with those beautiful white gloves behind the stumps, which I've been crying out for a few seasons, and they're back, which has been great. But yeah, I think as Moon said, with the problem-solving things, she sees things from a different lens, not just from a keeping point of view, but from a batting point of view. And we'll come together mid-over and she'll have a suggestion and I'll be like, nah, this is what I'm trying to do. And is very respectful in that regards, but is always open to suggest anything to see it from a different point of view. And I'll take it on and I'll be like, actually, that works and this is the right thing to do, given the situation and trying to put us in the best position going forward.
What's it like being such good friends, to be teammates for Perth, to be teammates for Australia, to know each other so well, not just as cricketers but as people, travelling the world together?
Oh, I think it makes it a lot easier. We're obviously on the road a lot and travelling a lot of days of the year now. So to have some familiarity around the place, I think is certainly makes travelling a lot easier. I don't know, Kingy probably gets sick of me by the end of 8 weeks in India, but
not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
I think it's meant to be the best time of your life, playing cricket and travelling the world. And if you got people like Kingy in your life, it's pretty easy to enjoy it. That's for sure.
What about from your point of view?
Nice. Same goes. I think you get to know each other so well because you live in each other's back pockets. No matter where you are, in a place like India where there's not a lot of freedom in what you can do, like somewhere like you can go to New Zealand or England where you can just go about your normal everyday routine life. It's a little bit harder, so you want to make sure that you're surrounded by the people who who know how you tick, who you get on really well with, who can go for a walk and get a coffee or find a good cafe, which Moons is always on the hunt for a new sandwich place anywhere in the world. So, it just makes it a lot easier, and the transition into different colours is pretty seamless. So we put on our Scorchers hat pretty much as soon as we got off the plane. And I think it also helps us because anything that we say or not criticise each other, but we're trying to give each other as much feedback as possible, comes from a good place. It's never to tear each other down. It's trying to keep each other honest and get better as cricketers and as people. And I think that's the most amazing thing when you travel with people frequently and for long periods of time. That's what the relationships you can develop with.
I don't know. I reckon she was a bit upset the other day when I was giving her grief about her finger.
Wow. So I was just about to ask.
Why'd you bring it up?
That's right. You see, you just reminded me.
I'm not that empathetic, and Kingy cops it a little bit, but yeah.
You realise at the end though, like it takes you some time, but then there's always a sorry or an arm around the shoulder or a beer next to me. That Moons. It's just in the heat of the moment. Things we want to win, and we're trying to do everything we can to win. So I take it with a pinch of salt, and then I
come crawling back normally.
Yeah.
Now, Elise Villani, who is the co-host of The Surge in this particular episode, she can't fit in this room, so she's out the back at the moment. I have to ask about the finger, she said. That's the one the one question I had to ask. And I have noticed a bit of a splint there. Tell us what's going on.
Well, if you catch balls, you tend not to break fingers. So
I was going to say you dropped it, didn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. Hence why if you catch them, you don't break fingers. So when I dropped that catch against Brisbane Heat, it just hit me really badly, and I was in some serious pain. I didn't know if it was out or not, but went for a scan once we got to Adelaide, and there's a nice little crack in my pinky, which is not ideal given it was the second game of the tournament. So, it is what it is. You can't change it. I'm just trying to do as best as I can and try get as much control and as much rip on the ball as within reason. Fair bit of pain at times. Painkillers can only do so much, and then obviously adrenaline takes over as well. But it is what it is. I'm just trying to be out there, do a job, and do the best role I can for the Scorchers. And I know I haven't taken a hell of a lot of wickets this tournament, but I think just being out there and being a listening ear to either Moons or Soph, or bouncing ideas off them and rallying up troops in the field, that's probably the main role I can play at the moment. So, I was coming off some pretty decent cricket, and to have a little injury like this isn't not ideal, but we push on, and hopefully there's a few wickets left in the tournament.
So I'm trying to visualise bowling leg spin. I would imagine it could have been a worse finger to break. It
could have been, yeah.
But how much does it restrict you, and how much have you had to change slightly your grip to be able to bowl?
It's probably not so much I've changed my grip. It's more so how much pressure I can put on the ball. I'm not I've broken my pinky, which is not ideal, but it's probably the best one to break. But it's just more so when I'm trying to snap the ball out of my hand. It's the vibrations and it's the flick of the pinky that comes off. That's what's causing me the most amount of pain. So I might not have as much control, or I know my pace has been a bit down in the last few games, but that will come as pain wears off and the bone starts to heal. So I'll be back to normal hopefully soon. But for the meantime, it's just about trying to use my whole body to get the ball down with as much revolutions as I can on the ball. So not too much changes. Fields might change. And that's where the conversations with Moons down the other end is really helpful. So, you just got to do what you can do with what you've got, and sometimes hope for the best.
You both of you mentioned about Sophie Devine and playing with one of the absolute superstars of world cricket. So you've gone from playing against her in a World Cup to being back teammates again, and this fierce rivalry between Australia and New Zealand. What's it like having her as a teammate? And do you have to hold anything back, or just sort of like it's you're a teammate now, so away we go?
We're usually pretty good at sledging each other, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think Soph gives it as good as she gets it with Kingy and I around. Don't worry about that. I think she's one of the great teammates that are out there, I would say. I think she's, her leadership is excellent. She gets around the group. at training and at games, and she knows how to get the best out of herself as well. So from my point of view, it's been really cool to work with Soph in the last 5 or 6 years and sort of help her out on the field and let her take all the responsibility of the decision making and just pop a few ideas in her head every now and then. But yeah, she's one of the great teammates in world cricket. I think most people would say they'd love to play alongside her, and that's that's what you want people to say about you, right? You just want to be known as a good teammate, someone that can contribute on and off the field and, have a good time doing it. And I think she ticks all those boxes.
What have you learnt, Alana, from Sophie to make you a better cricketer?
She's a fierce competitor, and I love being on her team for that reason, because she gives her absolute all in no matter what situation she or the team is in. But I think the best thing I love about Soph is that she's also a big kid. She loves to have fun. She loves to take the piss out of herself, as well as others, and I'm at the brunt of it most of the times, which is so fine. But I just think the way she backs herself and her strengths, I think, is probably something that I really admire about her. No matter what situation we get put into, she's always going to back her strengths, and that's almost instilled a little bit of belief in my strengths, whether it's bat or ball in the hand or in the field. And she always backs you with what plan you want to do, with what field you want to set. She says at the end of the day, she's like, you've got the ball in your hand, you're going to have control. So do what's going to be best for you. These are some suggestions, and have fun with it. And I think that's the best thing about Soph. She always is trying to see the fun side of things, and try, no matter how high pressure situation it is, it's always trying to enjoy the moment, and she does it with a smile on her face. So I'm probably a little pest around Soph at times because I just love being around her. And as Moon said, great teammate, love being on her side, and rather than her whacking me around the park. So I've had my fair share of that.
That's right. We're talking before about the bar that you set really high, Beth, when it comes to cricket. I know you get embarrassed talking about yourself, but no one's scored more runs in the history of the game than you. And you're quite a way ahead of second and a long way ahead of third, but you still go under the radar. Is that because that's the way you like it, or why do you think that's the case? Because you're the pace setter.
I don't know, maybe people don't like me too much. They don't want to talk about me. I'm not sure. It's probably a little bit by design from my end. I think I, like to steer clear of the limelight and stay under the radar. And, at the end of the day, it's my job to score runs. That's what they're paying me to do. So
say that. Because scripted that, you're going to say that batters are going to score runs, bowlers are going to take wickets.
No, I said they're paying me to score runs. It's my job.
Yeah,
so I should be.
I'm gonna double down it though. I want to. How proud are you of what you have achieved? Because as I said, I think at times you are under the radar because you like it to be that way, but it is extraordinary what you've done over your career at such a consistently high level, and you're still doing it. I'm interested in. I'm sure the listeners are as well. How proud you are of what you have been able to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard when you're living it to look back and I guess appreciate what opportunities you've been given and how you've been able to handle them as well. I think that's one thing I pride myself on is, taking those opportunities and making sure I, repay the favour, so to speak, of people that have given me the chances along the way or thought that I could be good enough along the way. So from my point of view, at the moment, I'd still prefer a few more WBBL titles next to my name if you took off a few runs off that tally. But if I'm still contributing and scoring runs and helping the people around me get better and, winning titles wherever I go, then hopefully I'll play for a few more years and then be able to look back and go, gee, I did some pretty cool stuff along the way. But at the moment, all I think about is there's another game to play. There's more runs to score and, more players to help get the best out of themselves. So certainly pride for sure, I guess. The amount of runs is a really amazing thing. But, yeah, as I said, a couple more WBBL titles next to my name would be pretty cool as well.
One more on yourself. I promise one more. So,
do I look that uncomfortable?
No, you did that pretty well. You answered that pretty well. I was pretty happy with that one. But I'm interested because is there anything particularly satisfying about the way you go about it? Like I would say that often you get runs when your team needs them the most. When it's tough, you're the one that tends to stand up for your team. Is that something you wear as a a badge of honour or something that deeply means a lot to you, that situation? Because often there's players that can make a lot of runs, but often when it's easy, whereas I find with you, it's often when the team is struggling, whether it's Australia or whether it's Perth or whoever it is, that you're doing it when it's tough.
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit of a fraud with that. I think the reason why that happens is because I'd be an absolute wreck on the sideline if I wasn't out there scoring the runs. So I'd be an absolute menace. I think I do take pride in that. I take pride in opposition teams feeling like they're not in the game when I'm out there, and they probably felt like they were at certain points. I guess the competitive nature of my personality is that I want to be the one out there doing the role that's required and presented to me, and I probably thrive a little bit more in those circumstances, and I haven't always. That took a long time to get my head around being able to do that, and also understand that you're not going to be that successful as a batter in T20 cricket. Another one of your co-hosts, Kirby Short, and I obviously played a lot of cricket together for a long time, and we came up with the rule that you were going to be successful about 6% of the time. And success to us meant, we would score runs and the team would win, or one of our best mates would do well and the team would win. That we worked out it doesn't happen very often. So you've got to kind of take it with a grain of salt when you do and when you don't, and move on to the next thing pretty quickly. But yeah, I guess being so competitive, I, just want to be out there contributing to the result for the team.
Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people want to know what goes in your mind, because you are such a competitor. But to actually hear that, I reckon there's a lot of people listening to that can learn a lot out of that. Now, you were nodding when a lot of that was going on. Would you like to add anything to what you see when it comes to Beth and her batting?
I just think Moons is the ultimate problem solver. I think when we've been in situations up creek, I think Moons is really clear on what the job at hand is, and she wants to get it done. And only recently when we played against Pakistan and we were a little bit up creek.
A long way up the creek, I reckon.
I went out there and Moons had this like steely kind of look about her, and I was trying to lighten the mood because I'm like, this. That's how I go about my cricket. I just want to be a bit less, like a bit more relaxed. And she was like, right, this is what we need to do. This is what the bowler's doing. And I think she's just really clear about the whole game situation. And also the best thing is telling you what's good options, or if you're voicing your options, being like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And she backs you because you know your game really well, and she's just there to support you. And I had a great mate down the other end in a tricky situation to have a bit of fun as I was having a bit of fun. I know Moons was not smiling a lot until it was hot. Yeah, it was very hot. So the heat and Moons don't get on very well. But I think that's just how Moons has been, and why she's so consistent is because she's always finding a way to get out of situations and finding a way to get Australia or the Perth Scorchers into a winning position. And batting with Moons for 12, 15 overs off that game, that was very special. And to see her get 100 at the end of that, I think that's probably, for me as a mate, was one of my proudest moments of her career. I don't know where that ranks in your hundreds for Australia or any cricket, Moons, but it just epitomises what you do in a situation when shit's up creek and you've got someone out there who is that determined to get us into a good position.
Yeah, it's a great example, exactly what we were talking about. Okay, a couple more before we let you go, and we appreciate you coming in to have a chat. What does it mean? You kind of touched on this before about playing for the Perth Scorchers, because Perth sports fans just love the Scorchers, whether it's the men's team or the women's team. So I'm really interested in what it's like to put on that uniform and play in front of that crowd.
Oh, I reckon they're the most loyal fans in the 100%. Whole country. And any kind of player that plays for WA and play for the Scorchers, they are like one-eyed fans. And they don't care about anyone else, and they're proud to be that. So when you come to the WACA and it's noisy, I know we've got the best crowds in the WBBL for the last few years, and something we're really proud of that, because we know how much it means to our fans and our members when we go out there at the WACA. I think it's going to be just an amazing experience, and we want to do well, not just for ourselves, for the club, but it's for our fans and members who turn out every game to support us, and by far has been the best support group that I've ever been a part of.
And we also speak a lot, not just in the dressing room, but around the office as well, about making it a tough place to play games of cricket. And I think the fans really help with that. We've obviously got the Wild West theme going this year with the men's and women's teams. So it gives the people of Perth something to feel like they're connected to and a part of, and the players something to look back on and go, yeah, that was a really cool idea, and draws people in. They want to talk about it. But yeah, I think that's one thing that we pride ourselves on, is making it a really tough place for people to come. That's probably why Dobbo and Margot don't let people come to Perth too much, to be honest, because we get the biggest crowds and the fans probably get stuck into the opposition a lot. But yeah, we're very lucky. They never let us down, do they?
No, they turn out in numbers, and it's just the noise that they create. I think there might be 5,000 people, but it almost sounds like there's 15,000 at the ground. They're just so passionate about WA, and even in footy as well. It's Eagles or it's Freo, and they're so one-eyed about their own people. They want to protect them, and they want them to do so well. So yeah, it's like we're the daughters of WA, the adopted daughters of WA that they've taken under their wing, and yeah, I absolutely love playing at the WACA.
Yeah, they almost get offended when we get spoken about as Victorians and Queenslanders now, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So
it's almost like a double-header situation where you've got the Renegades on December 2 and the Heat on December 6. And based on the way the ladder is and the competition, it's so even. Those two games could be pivotal in your season.
Yeah, I think the next we've played probably one game more than everyone at the moment, but those two games are going to be huge. We've got a pretty tough end to the schedule. Renegades twice, the Heat and the Hurricanes. So those two games, especially at the end at home, are going to be massive for us. So thankfully they're at home, because we feel like that will have a bit of an impact on the result for us. As King alluded to, people in their home comforts. It's meant to be mid-30s next week, so you'll find me and probably the other overseas and the interstaters at the beach most mornings for a swim. But yeah, really excited to finish the season in Perth. We've sort of been on the road a lot this tournament, and to be able to, get into a bit of a routine there will be really nice.
Can you still do some damage?
Absolutely. I think there's so much more cricket to be played, and we play the Renegades in a couple of days and then travel to Hobart. So no doubt every game is a good opportunity for us to put our best foot forward. Still think every team will say when they haven't had strung a few wins together, they haven't played their best cricket, but we certainly haven't played our best cricket. We haven't had all three assets firing at the one time, and I don't think that's too far away. We've got a great group, and everyone's really hungry to make sure we get on a roll and finish off the season really well, especially with those two games at home.
It's sort of a long tournament, not as long as it used to be with 14 games. So, my mindset in these scenarios is they don't remember how you started it, they remember how you finish it. And for us, it's a good opportunity to sort of win 4 or 5 games in a row and hopefully get to host a final or sneak through somehow. But yeah, it's definitely getting to the pointy end, and it only matters if you're performing then. It doesn't really matter if you're not doing it at the start.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, both of you. Really appreciate it. I know it's a very busy time, but particularly for our audience to hear from you, insights. You don't talk too much about yourself often, so we really appreciate that. And good luck with the injury as well, Alana. And we want to see you back bowling your absolute best, because when you're bowling at your best, it is absolutely entertainment plus. So again, thank you very much for both coming in.
Thanks
for having us.